Now, we obviously had to make some big assumptions if we want to know about projected revenue and profit, but here goes.
Wow, it's a lot of zeros. What are we looking at?
All right, so I followed Elon's production predictions for the year of several thousand. So he said this year we'll make several thousand, but I assumed that Tesla wouldn't sell any of those.
Okay.
Elon did make it clear that those would live in Tesla factories being used for work and testing. So I figured no one's going to buy those. But then Elon said 50 to 100,000 in 2026, and I assumed many of those would be sold. So I averaged it to 75,000, and I made a wild assumption that Tesla would actually start selling those. And let's assume $100,000 each.
But he said that it would cost $30,000.
Right, but this is the beginning of production, kind of like the original Roadster, really expensive to make a small production run.
Okay.
So if he sells it for $100,000 each, and if he sells them to us, that would be $7.5 billion in revenue from hardware. And I assumed that Tesla, just like with the cars, would also sell autonomous software to go with the robots. But here I assume that it is an annual subscription, since Tesla has to continually develop new skills for the robots. So I priced that at $5,000 a year.
Whoa. Elon said that Optimus would be a $30,000 robot. He didn't say anything about software.
Yes, but what incentive would Tesla have to develop new skills for Optimus if there was no software subscription?
But I can drive a car with no autonomy. I can't use a robot with no autonomy.
You know what? We're going to go into that more on Investor Club bonus stories today. So, because that's going to take a while to explain. So I went with $5,000 a year. You can tell me in the comments why I'm wrong. So that's $375 million in software sales for a total profit in 2026. So that's next year of $1.1 billion. 2027, Tesla produces 500,000 Optimus robots because Elon said 10x. And I was a bit more conservative. So as you can see, that's $32.5 billion in revenue.
It's good money.
At $60,000 each, because I thought the price would come down as they ramped up production, for a total cost to Tesla of $51,000. So their profit in 2027 is $7 billion. Then in 2028, Tesla 4X's production, not 10X like Elon said. I was more conservative.
Okay.
So total revenue of $100 billion and a profit of $23.5 billion. Then in 2029, Tesla builds 4 million robots. I just predicted 2X as opposed to Elon's 10X. Again, I'm being super conservative here. For revenue of $140 billion and a profit of $38 billion.
Okay, so these are a lot of really big numbers. It's hard to compare this to anything, so let's compare it to something that we actually know, which is Tesla's vehicle sales.
Okay, good idea. So here is Tesla's annual vehicle sales chart from 2017 on the left, that little line, to 2024 on the right. So in 2017, Tesla sold 101,000 cars. And then in 2018, 146,000 cars, then 301,000 cars, and so on. Revenue-wise, though, which is what you asked, here's what that looks like. So if we go back to 2017, $8.8 billion in revenue, $14.9 billion in 2018, $20.8 billion in 2019, $24.3 billion in 2020, $40.6 billion in 2021, $66.1 billion in 2022, $82.2 billion in 2023. We don't have final numbers for 2024 yet. We'll be covering that on In Depth later in January when we cover Tesla's Q4 2024 earnings call.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
The revenue numbers you were just talking about in your model for 2026, next year, just the ones next year, they look very similar to Tesla in 2017.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? Because in 2017, Tesla had been around for a while, but they only really had one factory, the Fremont factory, that was producing cars. Tesla had just started building Giga Shanghai, and they had Giga Nevada, and you could even argue they had Giga Buffalo. But in terms of making cars, Tesla only had one factory. They just started making the Model 3 at the end of 2017. We had one of the first off the line.
So it was mainly the Model S and X at that point. Very expensive, very limited production products.
Right, just like where Tesla will be with Optimus next year, if Elon is right. Very expensive, very limited run of Optimus robots that will be in very high demand, I might add.
But then, the following year, 2027, according to your model, and I realize it's just a prediction, but according to your model, Tesla's revenue jumps up to $32.5 billion.
It's good money.
It took Tesla Automotive about 4 years to do that.
Right. But that's because mass producing cars is a lot harder than a robot, which has 97% less materials. Think about a smartphone. They're super complicated, but there were 118 million of them sold just in the US last year, and over 1 billion smartphones were sold worldwide.
And then in 2028, just 3 years from now, your model predicts that Tesla could have revenue of $100 billion just from Optimus sales, Tesla Automotive and Energy hasn't even hit $100 billion in revenue yet.
Right. If Elon's right, and if my model is even remotely close, well, you know what? How this will affect Tesla's stock price is really interesting, and we'll discuss that on today's Investor Club bonus story. So be sure to join us on Patreon today. Link is in the show notes. You'll probably be glad you did it. See you there, patrons. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for watching Now You Know Clips.
You can watch full episodes of Tesla Time News on Tuesdays and in-depths on Fridays. Just click the link down below and head over to the Now You Know channel.